Hello, everyone. Ti Dave here. By the grace of God, with another interview. We have Christy. She's been covertly targeted since 2008 and overtly targeted since 2017. A couple announcements. Somebody had put a comment yesterday about, you know, uh, Brian too said something about demonic systems living, and this person, put a comment talking about. Let's see what it says. Just your guest said demonic systems are living, breathing, alive. Really, he needs to stop it. Take that part out. It's an error. You should have corrected yourself in your intro, man, and thank me for making that correction so your viewers don't get misled. Okay, so to respond to that comment, what he's talking about is human augmentation, and some people have put the Neuralink chip in their brain. Some people have agreed to be experiments with this technology in them, the transhuman technology to try to augment themselves and make them smarter, more. And these tests have been going on. So there are demonic systems living and breathing and walking among us. That wasn't misinfo. And even if it was misinfo, what I do in my interviews is what I do when I put stuff out. People know everything's not always going to be 100% correct. So, I just let people say what's going on with them. And so I just hope y'all understand that. Because I don't purposely put anything out. Like yesterday when I put the electronic torture thing out on Nevada, and then somebody, because I trusted the source, so when I found out that it wasn't a real act, I immediately, you know, took responsibility in the community and said, look, that wasn't what it was. It was a proposal. It was an actual act that passed through Congress, and I apologize. So I try my best. Just please just work with me and, just give us a break. We try our best. Nobody's perfect. But if I'm posting interviews or stuff, I just like letting people speak their mind and whatever, and and it's designed for the viewers to take what they need, leave the rest. So anyway, Christy, thank you so much for being brave enough to come on here and tell your story. We're sorry you're going through this. Millions of people are now, and it's horrible. Um, I guess the main thing is we woke up to see another day. And you can always find something to be grateful for. I think a gratitude list is very important each day for TI. My first question I have for you is what was your life like before you were targeted, and what's it been like since you've been targeted?
Great question. Well, thank you very much for having me on. And this is my first interview. So hello to everyone that's listening. Thank you for being here. My life before targeting was I've all I'm a single parent. I was a single parent and I was just raising my teenage daughter. I we had our own apartment. I was working 40 hours a week. I had just bought myself an elliptical, so I put it in my living room in my apartment. We were just doing our girl thing. We were living life, and everything was actually really really good. I don't have much. I've never had much, never required much, but we were good. We had each other, and we had love, and we just two girls having fun basically, and trying to get my daughter to graduate high school. I mean, we would talk about the day that she would walk down the graduation aisle. That's so I had plans. And since my targeting, my life has it's been pure hell. It's honest to goodness, it's been pure hell. My life has been flipped upside down, inside out, backwards and forwards several times.
Do you have any idea why you might have been targeted?
I believe it had to do with an ex who isolated me and he was very prominent in the community. He had a lot of money. He owned his own hotel. And when I left him, I think it started a little bit before I left him. because he always had his thumb on me. But I didn't realize back then that that's what was going on. And my mom tried to tell me, but I wasn't listening. So I think that for me, that's when it really started.
Yeah,
And I
because
think that
you
he's
were
had
brave enough.
tentacles.
So I would say you were probably brave enough to stand up to him and escape that situation, and he got mad and had the money to make your life miserable, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely, and has continued to. I believe that he has tentacles.
And this is horrible because I mean, I've talked to many targets and that say their target and started after a relationship. Matter of fact, when my handler sent me that video and said I done this to you, it was Community Policing by James Harkin, and he had dated somebody that had money, his daughter and all that, and broke up with her and got targeted because of that. And you just hear countless women and all that talking about how they escaped situations just like you and got targeted. So there's so many different ways you can be targeted and put in this system. I think I was put in it before, but I can't put my finger on why I was initially targeted. But I know after I filed that EEOC case, all my targeting went through the roof. So
Right.
what started happening with you at the beginning of this? I know you said it was covertly at 2008. What did you start noticing? What was going on that started making you say, okay, something's not right?
So my mom kept telling me, she's like, "Hey, we're being followed. We're being followed." And I blew it off. I didn't think so. Then when I left him, I noticed I was being color sensitized, and this started in Florida. So I was being color sensitized. I was constantly being followed by different people, constantly stopped by the police, arrested a couple of times. Um, and so I left. I left Florida thinking that I would get away from this. Well, I moved to Texas and he found me. That's when things, and I moved again thinking that, I mean, at this point, I'm still thinking, okay, I can get away from this. I can get away from this. I wasn't really on social media. I didn't do Facebook and all that stuff. I didn't. And then he found me again in that little town where I lived and actually came to that town. I saw him. Well, that's when everything broke loose. I mean, it was bad after that. It was just terrible.
Yeah, I encourage all targets. Joseph, I can't mention his last. I can't say his last name right, so I'm not going to try. But he put something interesting in YouTube the other day under a comment and told me to look into delusion of reprieve. So when you're in that panic state, you're thinking, "Oh, geographical location is going to work." And
Right.
it's kind of like in when they were in Nazi Germany and they were in the camps or whatever. Like they had hope. They wasn't deep down they knew they were going to die, but every day they had hope. It's called the delusion of reprieve, and I really think that's where we go when we start being traumatized so much. We think these geographical cures are answers, and then it blows our mind when we find out we can't outrun it. It's even more devastating because usually we done spend our finances trying to get away. Uh, did
Absolutely.
did you get any noise campaigns at like on your in your first stage of well, not first stage but first targeting, like when you were being followed around, could you explain some of the tactics they would use?
Sure. So, plausible deniability.
Yep.
That's their grand illusion. Alarms, honking when I go in the store, when I come out of the store. The baseball, what do you call those things? The motions, where they touch their hat, where they're where street theater.
Yeah.
One time I remember hearing something that had been in a conversation that I was on the phone in my own apartment before I realized that there were cameras and listening devices and all this other stuff. And I thought to myself, well, that's weird, but you're not, you see all these different things, but you're not able to put them together until you are able to put them together. And so it was always the noise campaigns. I would sit out on the porch and all of a sudden here comes the weed whacker, the lawnmower, the honking, things like that.
Yeah, and you tell people that, and then they're like, "Well, it's just somebody mowing their yard and stuff." But you know that's done it. See, the way they get by with this is people are if you tell people normal people stories that don't know nothing about this, it's initially designed for them not to believe you, and you just look nuts. But the stuff's really happening. But they know that they can like they blocked a whole hotel off on me one night. I got there earlier. I got there early because I had to wait on a bus to leave the next morning. In Cameron, Missouri, matter of fact, behind the BP. If anybody wants to look it up on Google Maps, they blocked that whole. They had a forklift when I signed in that hotel, they had a forklift. They brought concrete barriers and put them in all the parking spots.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I said, am I the only person in this motel? He said, yeah, you're the lucky man tonight. And I'm just saying, like,
Ooh,
and if I would have called and told anybody this, they would have probably said I was nuts, but it really happened. But the reason they can do all this crazy, fantastical stuff is nobody will believe it.
exactly. And he had a yellow Mustang. It was not a bright yellow, not a it's like a bumblebee yellow, okay? And I see that color to this day on every at least every time I come out of my house to go to work in the morning. Every time. Or when I get
Wow.
off of work at night. Yep,
That's
to this
interesting
very day.
because I met somebody who was supposed to show me around somebody. I'm not going to mention their name. They were a TI. They were supposed to show me around somewhere in the city, and they picked me up in a yellow Mustang. Well, there's other things that were up to us, like falling out. But anyway, so I didn't end up staying there. I ended up going somewhere else in Florida, and I seen a yellow Mustang look just like that. I'm like, how many yellow Mustangs are there? So I thought this person was perping me, but really it was somebody else. So I had an experience with a yellow Mustang too, but uh, um,
Yeah, and they do the color sensitization. The whole, okay, the maroon cars, the white cars, the black cars. I am followed by so many black vehicles right now. It is insane. Yesterday I looked behind me, there was a convoy of black, nothing. It was like a sea of black.
right.
And I
Uh,
know that, see, and plausible deniability. I can't go and tell that to somebody because you do sound, you're like, that's normal. Anybody else is going to say, oh, that's normal.
right.
But
Were you ever close to your family and friends? Did you have a lot of family? Did you have a lot of friends before you were
no,
targeted?
nope, I didn't hang around a whole lot of people. I had just, I had my two kids, one of them was already grown. Then I had my dad, who I didn't see too often. He lived a couple hours away from me. My mom, who she was in another state at the time.
Now,
So
well, no, the reason I'm asking is, did the people you were in contact with start acting shady to you, start ignoring you, stop messing with you, just acting weird, like they've been told,
yeah,
like you know how somebody acts, and you're like, wow, I wonder why they're acting different. The whole energy shifted.
big time. Yes. Anybody that I came in contact to, people at the store, because I'm a jokester. I like to joke. I like to laugh, have a good time, and I'll just say some goofy off the wall stuff, to people at the store, and they'll look at me as if I have two heads. So I don't even try anymore now. Sometimes I'll make a little joke here and there, but it's at the point where I don't even feel like doing that anymore.
Right. Did have you ever tried to use your EBD card and they take
Oh,
EBT?
let me tell you about that. Okay, so I was getting, this is when it really hit me. So they sent a honeypot towards my way. I had gotten on Facebook. I had never really done Facebook before in my life. This is when I was living in Texas, raising my daughter in that small little town. This is when it really hit me. So I met this guy at work. I should have known when he told me that he'd been watching me for 2 weeks, but I just thought, at the time, well, maybe he just wanted to make sure I was a decent person, thinking the right way, not nefarious. And he asked me, went to my daughter. My daughter was where I got her a job with me, went to my daughter and asked my daughter if it would be okay for him to date her mom. So I was thinking, okay, so that's okay, that's all right, because I wanted her to be okay with whoever I was going to date. At that point, I had been single for a very long time because I had gotten out of this horrific relationship. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
Um, well, it was just we were talking about smear campaigns and isolation, and
Yeah.
then now you got into a honeypot,
Honeypot.
which a
Okay.
honeypot is one of the questions I'm going to ask anyway. So that's good you're on this topic.
So in order for me, so when it really hit me, they had rerouted my child support payments back to Florida after I had already had it in Texas for a couple of years. Somebody called up and rerouted my child support.
I
It
believe
took
that.
me months to get my stuff back. Months.
And he was part of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He had to have my social security number, my information. I mean, who just reroutes your stuff back to an old address that you haven't been at for a couple of years? Who does that?
Right. So when you say this guy's a honeypot, what were some red flags for you that something wasn't right?
First of all, I never dated anybody with a bunch of tattoos. Never. That it just wasn't my thing. I have nothing against it if that's what you want to do. Me personally, I don't have any. I don't want to get any. And I never really dated anybody with a bunch of tattoos. But I thought to myself, because this was back when I still gave people the benefit of the doubt. Well, so what? He's got tattoos. Oh, and then I found out he had just come out of jail, out of prison, actually. So I thought to myself, yeah, stupid. I know. I kick myself in the butt every day for that. Um, so I thought, well, I'm always an underdog rooter, always have been, because I've always been an underdog. So I always want to give the benefit of people the doubt, you
Yeah, because
know?
just because you've been in jail or prison don't qualify you to be a bad person necessarily.
Correct. Exactly. So, but then, Holy Spirit, something in my spirit kept telling me, run the other way, run the other way, run the other way. Well, I didn't listen. I did not listen. And I advise everybody, listen to your discernment. Listen to your discernment. It's extremely important, especially now. And he had just gotten done dating somebody else. So the red flags were for me that he had a lot of, and they were demonic tattoos. I didn't know this until I saw him take his shirt off, and we had already been dating. I had no clue. There was a 666 on there. And I asked him, I go, well, what's that? He said, oh, that's a demon. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, yeah.
Would he
And
gaslight you or anything?
absolutely, all the time. He wouldn't call me for a couple of days, and then he'd come over. He gave me a dog. He gave me a pair of earrings. Then I found out, okay, and I had never really had any health issues. I found out in 2018 I had fibromyalgia. I couldn't work. I ended up getting behind on my rent, and boom. And he's working at a ranch where this really big ranch in this little town where I lived in Texas. People have buku bucks, pillars of society, and or supposedly. And he's like, well, I'm staying, come out and let's stay at this 5-bedroom ranch. Let's in a 5-bedroom ranch. So I'm like, well, okay. So I went out and I looked at the house. Me and my daughter did. We went out there and looked at it, and we were like, oh wow, this is really nice. Okay, so we moved in there. Almost immediately, weird stuff started happening. There was a big old, like a playroom upstairs. in this 5-bedroom house. He never wanted to turn the fireplace on, which I thought was very strange. Never wanted to stay at home. Always wanted to run the roads. Then he had this guy who was his friend from prison who would come over, who was very jealous of me. They'd go and hang out for hours. I'm not. I'm just thinking this is strange. I mean, I'm trying to fix this relationship. We'd already been together for at least a year. And I'm trying to fix it, thinking maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the problem.
Right.
And so those were the many. Then he started being mean to my daughter. That's when I was like, okay, this is not going to fly for me. So I started rebelling against him, and I started packing up my stuff. Well, he wasn't even supposed to be around guns. He came and took the barrel of the gun, pointed it at my daughter, and then took the barrel of the it was a rifle, and smashed the driver's side of my Jeep. So
Wow.
I got the heck out of there. Then he
Right.
comes back, and I'm staying in a hotel. Oh, so back to the house. So I heard noises upstairs. I heard there was I know I saw people running around outside. There was a huge island in the middle of this house, and I'm standing in the kitchen one night. The and this is going to sound beyond what anybody can understand with the scope of what we go through.
Right.
The
Well,
island.
don't ever be shy about telling it. We believe you, and any real target will believe you.
I'm standing there and I see, and it had, the grout, it started moving, like vibrating. So the aisle literally pulls back little bit by little bit by little bit, and I see stairs going down into whatever the heck was underneath there. That's when I couldn't sleep all night. I got my stuff out the next day, and I stayed in a hotel. And
So the
after
island
that,
actually moved, and there were stairs under there.
it actually moved, and there were stairs.
Oh, I would have got out of there too, wouldn't you? Oh, got out of there.
It was insane. And then I started seeing little pennies around everywhere I went. Oh, now apparently I'm worth a little bit more, because now they leave dimes whenever I get out of my car, go in the store. I'll come back, there'll be a dime in front of my, next to my door, my door car. So apparently I'm worth more now. I don't know.
Did you ever tell him about the stairs, seeing
Yeah.
the or did you act like you never seen it?
I didn't tell him what I saw about the stairs, but I kept telling him there's people upstairs. There's this going on. There's this going on. No, oh no, oh no, that couldn't possibly be. You're crazy. You're
No.
making this up. Blah 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 blah. You know the whole gaslight nonsense. Sorry, to bring it back to your gaslighting question. So yeah, everything I would say, he would turn around, gaslight me. I didn't want my dog to have puppies. He turned around and got her pregnant and had puppies. She was a pit bull. She was beautiful, beautiful. His friend ended up chasing her out into the road. They killed her. So there's your trauma bond right there.
Yeah. Now,
And go ahead.
do you experience do weapon attacks,
I do.
V2K?
So the first time I experienced V2K, I was standing in that 5-bedroom house at the ranch. I heard, and I will never forget it as long as I live. I'm putting my clothes in the washer. I hear my full name, my first, my middle, and my last name. I hear my birth date, my full birth date, and I hear my social security number. Then I hear a rundown of everybody that I'm associated with.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, what the hell was that? I
Now,
had no
have you heard it ever
clue.
since?
When I was first targeted, when I left from Texas to go to Iowa, I heard it for a long time. I would hear them say things, oh, well, you can get out of it. You can, do this, go here, go here. They had me running the streets thinking that I was still thinking that I could get out of it. They had me running the streets like a nut, thinking, go here, go there. Do this, do that. They would break into my apartments. I see shadows. They break into my parents' house to this day. To this day.
Wow. So, man, I know how hard it is. Holly knows how hard it is that V2K too. V2K used to tell her stuff about me, like I was reading
Oh,
her
I'll bet.
mind and all kinds of stuff. It's all lies, and it's designed to make you just go in circles, question yourself,
Yep.
bring your self-esteem down.
They
So
also, they make my heart flutter really, really fast. I actually did, what do you call it? A blood pressure test. My blood pressure was through the roof when this was going on. They do that to me every now and again. Now in the last few days, I feel a tingling behind my ear. I know that they have cochlear implants because I would put in earbuds to drown out the V2K. So I know they placed cochlear implants in each of my ears. I was standing in the shower not about a year ago, and I felt a dart literally I'm facing the water, and I feel a metal dart in my hip. Like that thing hurt so bad. So now my hip is deteriorating because of it. I also have one in my neck, an implant in my neck, my ears, my hip. I was laying on the floor because they vibrate the floor so bad that my floor vibrates, my bed vibrates. It's very hard to sleep. And I was laying on the floor and they have dug tunnels under my parents' house. It took them a year of drilling. They dug tunnels under my house. The floors raise, and the floors actually raise up. They turn on a machine and it vibrates the entire floor in the house. You cannot find comfort anywhere in this house at all.
now, have you told your parents about this?
My mom knows, my mom feels it. My dad, he still out on the subject. Oh,
Right.
that's
Well,
another
they
thing. My
don't
father,
have to be actually under the floor to make it vibrate. Like me
how
and
do they do
Holly,
that?
I went through this vibration phase what, about a year and a half ago? The couch, we thought the couch was mapped off. I'm talking about I would get so aggravated. It would make me lose
Yeah.
character. I mean, because I'd be going crazy, vibrating, nausea, vertigo, and then when I would lay on the floor to try to get some relief, because we were convinced they had the couch mapped out. We moved the
Yeah.
couch several times, but when I laid on the floor, my vibration would get even worse. I'd be aggravated. So one day I had a metal pole and I rested it against the floor and leaned it against my finger, and you could feel that metal pole vibrating, couldn't you, Holly? I let Holly do it too. Uh,
So
so
it's in the walls?
no, I'm just saying they don't have to physically be under your floor to make it vibrate. These weapons are
Right.
sophisticated. I'm just saying, like I'm not saying that they're not under your floor. I'm just saying they don't have to be under there to make you feel all that stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, did your floor ever raise?
Oh no, no, we're on a concrete
See,
slab though.
See, that's what they did. They drilled for 1 year straight. When I first got to my parents' house a couple years ago, they drilled for 1 year straight, 24/7
Wow,
under
you could
this
hear it.
house. Could hear it the whole
Wow.
time. Yep. And the only other time, let me get to this part. So I'm laying on the floor because my bed is vibrating so bad. I fall asleep. I wake up to a needle, a long needle, and I'm laying on my side. I felt it go through my lung almost to my heart. I felt that. I was in pain for probably 3 days after that.
Wow.
They
Interesting.
put they put needle things in the seat of my car and in the driver's seat so they'll
Now,
poke me.
they can make you feel them sensations just like something is being done when what they're doing is once you feel that effect once they do that to you once, they can record that emotion, reaction, the pain you feel, and then they can loop that and play you and make you have that pain anywhere in your body again, anytime.
Speaking, okay, I get what you're saying. And also when this first started happening to me, I noticed like my my thoughts were being read. They read my thoughts. What
Yep.
I was thinking, they said it out loud. And at first I didn't understand what was going on. Then I was like, oh my God, they're reading my thoughts.
Yep.
That's when I realized what the brain computer interface was for. They are trying to simulate what we do. They are trying to know every little nuance that we have.
Yep. And Holly had a person that would read her mind in real time too, and I always say what she was thinking, didn't you, Holly?
Yeah, my handler.
So yeah, we know that's real. And man, this is just horrible stuff, man. And then
It is,
more
it's
women are
evil.
targeted than men, and
76%.
yeah, and it's got to be terrifying for y'all. I know Holly really went through it, especially when you're alone and you're trying to do the
Yep.
right thing, and sometimes I've talked to many targets, and a lot of the female targets have left their own homes because they didn't feel safe staying there by themselves. It's horrible.
Yep. Well,
Um,
when they tried to delete me in 2023, I had no choice but to come back here and be with my parents. I had no choice. I mean, I couldn't even think at that point. They had my brain was so fogged. I was close to death, as close as I've ever been in my entire life. It took me months and months of restoration to try to get back to normal. It was so hard to just have thoughts again. It was hard to function
yeah, that first stage shatters the
big
target.
time.
It's designed to do that. Like my first year here was, I had to work through a lot. So did Holly. Like, I wouldn't even go upstairs the first year here. So the first day. So let me ask you this: do you keep up with your vitamin levels, your mineral levels, stuff like that?
Here's the thing. Okay, so I was, right? And now I have seen so much stuff. I don't even know what they're putting in vitamins anymore. I am confused about what I need to take,
Oh, okay.
what's a good brand, I don't know, but I need to do something. I know that much because
Right. Well,
I
I'm just saying because a lot of what these weapons do is, they drain your vitamins. So a lot of TIs, even when they do get a break, from these weapons, they're still feeling like they're being hit and they're still feeling like crap because these weapons
Yep.
have done caused vitamin deficiencies. And if you have a vitamin deficiency, uh, your body's going to be out of whack and hurting and everything too. So, that's one thing me and Holly learned is to correct our vitamin deficiency and keep our magnesium up and stuff like that. Um, uh, but I understand your point too on the supplements. But the vitamins seem like they help us. And then the thing is, we're scared to say what kind of vitamin we can send it.
I hear you.
You know, you
Yeah,
don't
don't
want to
say
blow.
it because
You
it'll
don't
be
want
off
to
the
blow it.
market.
But that's what we've noticed in a lot of targets too, is a lot of targets is, they have came back and said, hey, you were right about the vitamin deficiency thing, because these weapons cause it. And then, no matter what, until you correct that vitamin thing, you have no choice of feeling, any
Yes.
what normal.
And then here's another thing. So the last about probably 3 months, when I wake up in the morning, I am dizzy, so dizzy for the first couple of hours. And I haven't really been able to eat anything in probably a year. It's very hard to hold food down. Very hard. I have to force myself to eat. And I mean, and it's okay to fast. There's nothing wrong with fasting. Sometimes you need to fast.
Right.
And I'm all for that. Um, to get out whatever kind of toxins are in your body. But I've noticed that if I do like a protein shake and I'll just do, some frozen berries and some kale and some spinach and stuff like that. That seems to help. And I'll put it in one of those little ninja bullets and off I go.
Have you tried the garlic thing that I always suggest?
No, if you would email that to me, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah,
But I
I've been
do
doing it 8 months. I suggest any TI to go as deep down the rabbit hole about garlic, and I'm not talking about Google. I'm talking about some other search engine. Uh, find the oldest remedy books you can find that are out of circulation, and look up the potentials of garlic. Garlic was actually a currency in Egypt at one time. It was money, and it's just very powerful. But it's only powerful if you press the garlic and wait 10 minutes and eat it between 10 and 15 minutes, because there's something called allicin. It's called nectar of the gods, is what it used to, what it's been referred to. So the Rockefellers in the early 1900s took all the cures and natural remedies out of circulation for Big Pharma to come in and
hmm
do all that medicine. So a lot of natural stuff is that helps is right in front of our faces.
absolutely. I am all for the whole natural route. Absolutely.
Um, Let me see. Have you ever experienced any more honeypots? Have they ever sent any more honeypots after that guy?
They tried to. They tried to. And I almost fell for it. And then I was like, no, I'm not going through this again. So I've been by myself.
Right. Because they
At
can
this
send
point,
honeypots. Honeypots don't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend. They can be sent in the form of friends, or, you know, somebody that
I
just gets
find
close to you and,
and
uh,
tries to get information.
yep, or running psyops behind your back.
Yep. And I try to, I'm very, very leery about people. Obviously now I am not open with anybody. I don't really talk to anybody. I pretty much stay to myself now. I mean, I'm pretty much isolated besides working. That's the way that it is right now for me.
That was my next question. Are you able to work?
I am able to work. It's getting harder lately. I feel like my targeting is getting a lot worse lately, and my body is really, really breaking down because of the fibro, because of the implants, because of the vitamins, for all those reasons. And so I keep a gym membership. I need to go. I need to discipline myself more often, but I've always been a person who worked out. I've worked out since I was 15. I'm now 54. I've always worked out. So I think that has helped me a lot, but they want to try and take that away from me. So everything that they want to try to take away from me, I want to go and do it again. I want to do it more. I want to, I try to keep myself working, because if I don't keep myself working, I'm dead in the water.
Yep. And
And
that's why I stay busy constantly around here, and it's very important to stay busy.
it is, and I went to God. I went to God, and I asked him. I said, listen, I need you to help me find a job, and he did, and it helps me move around. It helps me connect with people, and I'm able to do it that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll do the Uber and stuff like that. Except I can't do it at night anymore because the LED lights, and they constantly flicker my face with these like they're taking a picture of me.
Right. You drive Uber
Yeah.
sometimes? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I had
I
some
hate doing
experiences
that.
with I don't know, I had better luck with Lyft in my targeting, but they're both in on it. But like I had a
Oh,
Uber,
absolutely.
I was trying to make a plane and this Uber pulled up. My friend called an Uber for me and it pulled up, saw it was me. I went to open the door and they pulled off. Man, they play all type of games.
Yes, they do. That's it.
Um,
That's anything to try and break you down. Oh, and you know what? I used to love to read, and they they stopped me from reading for a long time. So everything that they try to stop me to do, I'm going in there and I'm forcing myself to do things like I used to. Like I'll listen to comedies on YouTube so that way I laugh. I'll turn on Saturday Night Fever so that way I dance. And I try to do things like I used to do because I don't want to lose what little bit of myself I have left. And that's what they're trying to do. Just want to take it from you.
Now, you're homeless, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna ask what state you're in, but well, if anybody has any I has any kind of help they can offer her, please let us know in the comments. Uh, how is this? Well, you've done well. How has this affected your health? As it
I
well,
think that my health is my health has
yeah.
gone
How did the
down a
fibromyalgia
lot.
start?
I believe it started when I was overtly targeted in 2018. It coincided with this guy that I lived out at the ranch with when I started dating him. I didn't have that until then.
What
And
started?
from what I understand, the electromagnetic pulses that they do to you is what causes that.
Yeah, and they call it fibromyalgia, but really it's probably electromagnetic damage. I would say radiation damage.
Absolutely.
Have you ever
Absolutely.
had problems with your thyroid?
I corrected that. I went year right before I started dating this guy, I was having thyroid issues. And I corrected that by taking Synthroid, natural, all natural thyroid.
Oh, you talking about lavoxithyrein?
Nope, I didn't go to Big Pharma. I went to an all natural food store and I got it's in a glass brown bottle and it had a yellow label. Um and it was all natural thyroid and I took
Oh,
that
cool.
every day.
Right, because me and Holly both deal with our thyroid, but she don't have a thyroid no more. Hers got removed because of the C word. Um,
Yep.
and the doctor asked her, "Where have you been exposed to all this radiation?" Because she had uh,
Multiple tumors.
multiple tumors, and when I first got with her, like she had bronchitis for like
A year.
a year straight. Like, and I'm like, wow, why can't you get rid of this bronchitis? And it wasn't her having bronchitis, it was the nodes pushing on her throat, causing her to cough all the time. And we didn't find that out till later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you okay now, Holly?
Yeah, I'm okay now. But it was heck. I had to go through radiation, and David stayed beside me and took care of me. Nobody was supposed to be around me for a week, and he never left my side.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
terrible.
once you take that pill, everybody's supposed to isolate from you so they don't get radiated. But you know what? I was like, you know what? I don't care.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, I'm doing better now. Thank you.
Good, good.
It was a struggle, wasn't it? But you
Oh,
got through
man,
it, thank God.
it was a struggle.
Yeah, so if anybody ever has a cough that lingers, and you're like, man, I've had bronchitis for like 4 or 5 months and it's not going away, I would advise you to get your thyroid checked because, you know,
It can press against the nerve in your throat and cause the coughing.
yep.
Wow.
Let me see. I got a couple more questions and we're done.
Okay.
What would you say, could you name could you tell us like two of the most bizarre things that's happened to you? If you don't want feel like it or don't feel comfortable, that's fine. It's just uh we like asking that question sometimes just to get just because other people can relate to. Like everybody's got bizarre stories, so I try to ask people what their bizarre story is, so other people that have bizarre stories can relate. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So, um, one of them is it's definitely satanic in nature. It's definitely satanic in nature, at least for me, because I've had black magic done on me. I've had holograms. I've had the pennies left everywhere. There was some girl wrote a book about that. She had the same targeting. And I've never been able to find that book again. And I
What's it
can't even
called?
remember. I don't know. I've never been able to find that book again. It was on Kindle. I cannot remember. It's been a long time.
Okay.
And so the pulling away of the island, that was very bizarre. Then when I went in my kitchen one night at that same ranch, I look out and there's all of these. I mean, the only thing I can say is it was like they were having a party, but it was tall people, short people, weird looking people. And I don't know if it was a hologram. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's the only thing I can think is that this is satanic in nature. It has to be. It, the like to begin with, it has to be satanic in nature. I believe. I mean, there's so many more components, but for me, I believe that I came across somebody that was in that, and they do, they do all kinds of things to you. And I've been so sick some days. I mean, I was out of it for 3 days. I've I've been drugged. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word, but you can imagine that's happened to me.
Yeah.
I
Poisoned, gassed.
poisoned, gassed. Um, let me see here. I
Now, there's
wrote,
definitely a spiritual aspect while you're thinking, and
yep.
I recommend any target that prays to pray Psalms out loud. Pick you a couple Psalms that fit your situation. Say them out loud because, well, Holly, tell them I don't just tell people to do that, do I?
No, we do it every day.
We do it every day, like and also what you want to do is cover if you're a believer, and I don't push beliefs off on nobody. But this is for us, if in believers, always cover yourself with the blood of Jesus, and
Amen.
always you want to pray and cancel out any generational curses that's been in
Mm-hmm.
your family or whatever. You want to pray against that because there are generational curses. Um, and there's just a lot of more things you can do with prayer and stuff. Prayer is very powerful and it's very real. Even though people can't see it, it moves stuff in realms that nobody, because there definitely is a spiritual aspect to this.
I believe that it's a spiritual war and we are fighting it in the physical. And bottom line, what I have come to understand is it's good versus evil. And there it's not black and white. It's not red and blue. It's not all this other stuff that they trying to divide you with. It is good versus evil. If you don't comply, this is what's going to happen to you.
Right. Do you
Because it
think the
is
owner of the ranch
spiritual.
knew that you opened that island?
I think somebody meant for me to see it. That's what I
Right,
think.
right, yeah.
And I think that the owner, I think the owner of the, because the people of the owner of the ranch, I actually saw in the apartments I was living in at the time. When I moved out from the ranch, I moved into a hotel till I could get enough money saved for an apartment. Well, I saw him drive through these apartments, and there was no reason for him to be in these apartments. None. I just happened to look down and I saw him drive through the ranch. And I believe I believe that they are satanic in nature. I believe that with all my heart. I do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I start every morning, every single morning. As soon as I open my eyes, of course, I hear all the nonsense, right? First thing I go to is I go to a prayer. It's called expanded morning prayer through one of the only churches I've ever found that actually deals with being a TI. And they have a prayer app. I open that up, and that's the first thing I do. The first thing I do in the morning. And it's hard nowadays because I get so dizzy, and it's hard to function first thing in the morning for a couple hours. But that's literally the first thing I do. And read Psalms. I don't push my beliefs on anybody, but Psalms is all about gang stalking. It just is. I read
Yeah.
Psalms and I
David
was
was
like,
being,
oh my gosh.
yeah, David was anointed by God, and Saul knew that, and Saul was a king. But if you notice, David cut a piece of Saul's coat off, and he quoted Psalms 105:15 when he saw Saul later. He said, "I could have killed you, but the Bible says, 'Touch not on my anointed, do my anointed no harm.'" Because Saul was anointed too
Correct.
originally. But yeah, he was chased 4 chapters in Samuel, and everywhere, hated by everybody. He wrote them under a lot of pressure when he was being hated, smeared, stalked, followed. They were trying to kill him. So yeah, and he was a man after God's own heart. So them Psalms are very powerful.
I love Psalms. And I don't know if you know this, but kind of there is a program, okay? And I found this through Celeste Solemn. It's Celeste, and her last name is Sollum. She goes to these military industrial complex conferences. She has a YouTube channel. A lot of her information is for members only, but I don't know if she charges a lot. I haven't gotten a membership, but I have gotten some really good information from her.
Right.
She says that there is a program, and the acronym is called SATAN, SATAN, and it stands for Synthetic Awareness. No, wait a minute. Here it is. Synthetic Adaptation Through Awareness Network.
Yeah, it's called silent assassination through adaptive networks. Well, see, that's what Robert Duncan said it meant. But yeah,
Oh,
it's basically the
silent
same. It's
adaptation.
the
Okay,
same thing
okay.
worded different.
Okay. Then you know what I'm talking about. They also
Yes.
have one named Noah, and they also have one named Tammy.
Yeah, thought and mind interface is what TAMI stands for.
Okay. What does Noah stand for?
I can't think of it right offhand, but I know what you're talking about.
Yep. And I think that that's what these programs are. And I do believe, I mean, it's happening globally. So I mean, it all points back to the one world. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Right. I have one more question for you. What message would you say to my viewers today as far as targeting, or any tips you'd like to add or give them, or how you deal with targeting? Like, is there a message you'd like to get out to other TIs, or anything that helps you that you'd like other people to know that they might could get some help from?
Yeah. Hold on to what makes you you. Don't give that away to anybody. Don't, because they want to try and take everything away from you. They want every last drop of anything that makes you good. Anything that makes you good. Hold on to a little, at least a little something of you that gives you hope, that gives you joy, that gives you love, that can help you in any way. And you're not alone, even though you feel alone, because I feel alone all the time. I do. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do. There's days when I have been at my lowest where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take this anymore. but I refuse to let them win. I'm not, you're going to have to get rid of me because I'm not going to you're not going to do me in. You're not going to make me do myself in. It's not going to happen.
Right. Well, that's very good advice because that's one of the things they're doing is they're trying to hijack the love out of you because anybody that vibrates on a love frequency they're scared of love.
The big
Because
time.
love is so powerful. Because the Most High is love. So, uh, you know, that's so don't ne yeah. So what she's saying is don't never let them make you bitter and just
Exactly.
become a bitter person because then they've won the battle and you ain't even dead yet, but they've won because they've made you bitter and took love out of you.
That's correct. And literally everything that God teaches, that Jesus taught, that God wants us to do, they want the opposite. They want the opposite. And that's the bottom line. They want the opposite of everything that God does in this world. They want you and they want your soul. They want your soul. Don't let them have it.
Right. And also if anybody's filed that declaration, Christy's trying to file her declaration, the James Martinez declaration. If anybody's had success in filing it, James filed his online in Arizona. Me and Holly we've been so busy. We are going to file ours. But if anybody's got any tips and has had success in filing their paperwork, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because she's
Any
been
help
trying
with
too.
that?
Well, I thank you for coming out, and really appreciate your bravery and getting your story out. And like I said, if there's anybody that could, I don't know what area she's in, but she's homeless, and if anybody has any, can help her out in any way, uh, maybe with some resources or have a place to stay, something like that, for a few days or anything like that, please reach out. Um, is there
I
anything else you want to
appreciate
say,
y'all.
Christy?
I appreciate y'all letting me come on here. I really do. And I appreciate the platform. And this was very cathartic for me. This is the first time I've ever actually spoken to anyone else about this that is on that is, on YouTube and I'm sorry, I was a little bit nervous.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not a
okay.
great public speaker, but y'all were so generous with me and I appreciate it. And just hang on, everybody, because it can it can always get worse, but just hang on. I mean, I just thank y'all very much for letting me come on here and speak my piece. And I pray that I gave somebody else out there something of what I said. I'm sorry if I was all over the place. There's just so much that's happened to me, and have I haven't really put it into a chronological order. So I was a little bit all over the place, but I appreciate y'all being generous with me and thank you so much. And I always try to say Psalm 23 every day. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to
Right.
lie in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. He leads me beside still waters.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I hope because some people tell their story and it's therapeutic for them, and I hope this is the experience you got.
I
And
really did.
and let us know if you have success in filing that declaration because there is a couple people that's done it. I just can't find the email. Sometimes these emails automatically delete after so long.
Yeah.
But it can be done because there's people that's done it. I just don't know the right way. And you know how James is so swamped, he won't even answer hardly. And then we can't afford it anyway, so we're not in the chat anymore to keep up with what James Martinez is doing because, $27 a month adds up over time. So we had to cancel our membership this past month. So, but
Right.
thank you for
Well,
coming out and
yeah,
telling your
thank
story.
you.
And don't worry about how you did because if us TIs told our whole story, it would probably take more than 24 hours altogether. All the stuff we've been through.
Yeah, and if y'all would like to help Christy in any way at all, please make a comment.
I would
Yes.
appreciate that. Thank you so much, everybody. And I just want to wish everybody a great rest of your day. And thank you for listening to me. And thank you for letting me be on your platform, y'all. I really I love you guys. I support your show completely. And
Well,
thanks for
we thank you
giving
for that.
Yeah, thank you.
us.
And if you want to come back in 6 months and tell us an update on how you're doing, just feel free to email us.
I would love to.
And
That'd
if
be great.
anybody reaches out, we have your email. We'll be in contact with you, and you can answer them in the comments as well too.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, y'all.
No problem. Well, we're going to stop recording and say our goodbyes. Thanks again.